So here's the one thing that I want most in just life: a standalone character creator. And global hunger? Fuck that shit. World peace? More like world gay. No. All I want is the character creator. So just unironically though, give it to me. So many games have such amazing character creators. Just the time and effort that devs sometimes put into their games just so people can look the way that they want to look is amazing to me. And then it's just a swept away side feature that a lot of people just don't spend any fucking time on. Which may lead you to believe that people just don't like character creators, which couldn't be further from the truth. There's just a lot of people, and a lot of them don't like character creators, but there's also a lot of them that do. It's just a lot of people play RPGs not to, like, get into a cool character. They just want to shoot some aliens, slay some goblins, discombobulate some bobulators. But in every game, there's people who just spend hours on the character creation aspect of it. And I am one of those people. It's not even like for the game itself a lot of the time. It's often I just want to properly visualize characters for writing purposes because I'm not talented enough to become good at drawing. Which is where you come in, developer that just so happens to have the skills to make this. By developer, I mean like multiple people. I am fully aware that no individual person is going to be able to make this. Listen, people, here's what I want. So authors would probably benefit tremendously from being able to properly put into like something that is more physical and easier to look at the characters that they have imagined in their heads. But your main audience probably is going to be like pen and paper and tabletop people who would just really benefit from having a high-end multi-genre character creation tool at their disposal. Which is where we come to the point where not everyone qualifies. There are already some standalone character creators out there. There are some standalone character creators out there which have like multiple genres in them. The problem is, they're not very good. Some of them are way too specific, where they're just focused on like one particular setting and you cannot deviate from it at all. Others are way too general, where all you have is like a narrow amount of options in every like sort of genre that you can generally think of, and all of them will be completely uninspired generic design pieces. Others are way too simplistic, where you can just have 3 face shapes and then 4 options for noses, and that's not really customization. There are some that are extremely very complex in that department and very powerful, give you a lot of options. The problem is, they're aimed at actual proper professionals who know how to do 3D modeling and texturing and all that stuff. That's way too complicated and not really accessible to the average end user. So here am I, a person with no development experience, who just today wasn't able to install Java properly, and here is my list of demands for this. This is the standards it has to meet. Otherwise, you won't get my $40. Make it accessible to the average user, but not simplistic. Listen, it's okay if this thing has a learning curve, but just anyone who has graduated high school should be able to understand the full basics of the thing in like an hour. Lift and combine features from both the Spore everything creators and the Star Trek Online character creator. Give me the power to work and alter the skeletal structures of, people and aliens, and let me create fantasy races as I like. Really, Spore is the gold standard that you should be aiming for with this, especially in regards to parts. You know how in Spore you could just customize parts as you place them? I want that, but also with a lot more options. I want to have a huge library of parts in different genres, and I want to be able to place them wherever I want and color each component of them individually with like a hex code color wheel type deal, so I can get really fine-tuned and various different materials that I can choose. Don't worry about the size of the library just yet. I have an idea that I'll get into later. Do not stylize the character creator. Make them look realistic. This is probably my biggest gripe with Spore. It's one of the most massive pitfalls that game fell into. It was way over stylized, way too specific in this thing. It was this comical sort of comic book, but not quite comic book aesthetic. Make it so this can be genre neutral. Make me able to create realistic looking characters in 3D. Look at how the characters in EVE Online look like for that, as like a reference of what I have in mind. But also at the same time give me the option of rendering these characters in something that isn't 3D. If I have this 3D character, I want to be able to generate various amounts of portraits. So basically where I have like I take a certain position, then it makes a picture, but it makes the picture look like it's hand-drawn or oil painted or like a hologram or any amount of things that you can come up with. And it shouldn't be obvious that the thing that is just like a picture that is run through a Photoshop filter. Look maybe at like image style transfer deep learning shit if you want to get really like high-end super tech with this. I imagine this is an ultimately quite simple feature, but I think that it will massively increase your customer base. Give me the ability to place everything just freely wherever, with or without symmetry. Give me the choice of making it so the symmetry is automatic. I want to be able to place the rank insignia that I came up with myself wherever I want on the Space Fleet uniform that I designed. And here's the thing, you can start out with like a relatively slim parts library if you do these two things. First off, keep adding parts from like various different genres, maybe like do community polls to see what people want to have in there, like primarily, but also go into the other things that don't necessarily win the polls because those could be easily skewed. And the part of the development process where you just make the parts should be the easiest one. And if they come with like proper large libraries of them, like new packages, not just 3 parts for $12, I'd be willing to actually put down money for them as DLC. Not bullshit DLC, but hey, we made 250 more Cyberpunk parts, and for $5 you can add them to your library type shit. Then also number 2, do community integration, like proper full community integration where you give modders access to all of the tools that you have in order to design parts. Make it like, I don't know, Steam Workshop integrated, maybe run your own framework if you want to do that. I don't really care. Just encourage people to create high quality stuff. This has 2 effects. First effect is that it'll just create a larger potential content library for people to use regardless of what you, the developers, do. But also it'll keep you, the developers, on your toes a little bit. Because you will have proper competition for the parts that you put in like paid DLC. They will have to be of very high quality. As an added bonus, you can just look out for the best parts designers in the community and every once in a while tap them to work with you. It's like, hey, we see that you're doing a lot of like cool parts in these particular genres. We've been thinking about making like a community pack themed after gothic horror, where we're going to have 250 different parts, and 50 of those could come from you, and you would get an appropriate share of the profits. Bam! Now you have modders getting paid for their work, but not in a Bethesda way. Also, you could theoretically, if that is somehow manageable, do like brand deals, where, I don't know, I have this here, like, let's say, like Kaladesh, right? Wizards of the Coast want you to make parts that look like sort of this shit, right? And then you can make them, and it's like a brand deal, and it promotes you, and it also promotes their thing. And they put out like plane shift guides for these other settings that they have, because they do, after all, make D&D also. So there's like an official guide on like playing D&D adventures in Kaladesh. And imagine if then the people would be able to actually make their characters with parts that are officially Wizards licensed from Kaladesh. But that's just an idea. I know that all these rights things, they're notoriously complicated and dumb. And just one thing, do not put in any arbitrary restrictions. No, oh, this is a steampunk part, but you're making a high fantasy character right now, so you can't use it type shit. And also no, oh, your character already has too many parts, you don't get to place any more of them stuff either. If I want to put like little gold buttons with an eagle on it on my like pink hazmat suit to like an extent where just the whole software crashes because I am being completely unreasonable with the engine, then I should be able to do that. I just want you to take, like, the character creators of The Sims 3 and 4, Spore, All Points Bulletin, Star Trek Online, EVE Online, and Black Desert, and all the other good ones. Just take the good features from them and make them into a new and improved whole. This is not like a simple project that two people can cobble together on a weekend. This is probably like a really difficult thing to do, though it might also just be super easy. I don't know. I'd be completely willing to actually pay full game price for something like this that actually meets the standards that I expect. I'd even be willing to support a trustworthy Kickstarter campaign, and probably a lot of people are also, and I would even promote it on this channel, which I know is not too much, but there's other people who would probably do that also. People drop a fuck ton of money for tabletop related hobby stuff. Just Jesus Christ, the amount of money that they drop. And that crowd will especially love you for this. But also, here's how you can further expand your audience. Maybe do like model exports, where devs can build the characters in this like fairly simple but powerful engine, and then export them as whatever the standard model formats are and plug them into their own other software that they can use for like animation and to put them in their games and stuff. Also, this is an even crazier idea, and this is really the one thing that the RPG crowd will just get on their knees and supplicate for, is you allow them to import biometric facial data and map that onto like character faces, potentially even in like a combinatronic way where you can combine the features of different people, though actually I can see that being misused a lot. I know this isn't like a small ask, this is a big, probably expensive and time-consuming project, but the world, and more importantly I, need this. So, you know, whoever is out there in the great void, make this. And if you're already making this, let me know so I can have hope. Thank you very much for watching this video. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the things. Share this to your relevant communities, but do not spam them. I'm doing this thing where I recorded all of the videos for September and August as like a pilot project to test out if I can integrate this into my workflow so I can properly participate in NaNoWriMo this November by repeating the whole process in October. Also, I've made a video about this in the past. There will officially be the meetup on the Thursday the 14th in Amsterdam. I have booked my tickets and my hotel room. I know like 24 people have already said that they wanna definitely be there. Probably we're gonna just meet up in a park and then go into some pub. I will actually make a standalone video related to this though, like, yeah, at the beginning of September. Consider supporting me on Subscribestar, Patreon, buying some of the merch or maybe the book. Also, it depends on you on whether you want it or not. And in that spirit, make this thing, please. Please make this thing. I really need this. And other people do also, but like I really, really need this. And see you around, cunts.